Morning, how you doing? I hope you're all well. Are you doing far too much talking and not enough listening? Do you feel like you're hearing your spouse, but actually you've not been listening and now they feel like you don't understand them? And there's a lot of miscommunication and lack of understanding in your marriage, causing a whole load of problems. Well, let me tell you that the Bible has already warned you.
These came back from a search.
Google is talking to me. The Bible has already warned us about this and given us a blueprint for how we can have successful communication in our marriage. And as you all know, communication is the bedrock of any relationship, the bedrock of any great relationship. And so if you're getting communication wrong, it's likely that your relationship is going wrong. Now, here's what James said. James said, in fact, I will read it to you. James said, where is it? Oh, it's gone. I'll do it off my... Oh, here we go. My dear brothers and sisters. This is James 1, chapter 19. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this, as in listen and listen very well. Everyone should be quick to listen, not quick to hear, quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Now, I'm passionate about this because I was not using this formula. In my early years of marriage, I was not using this formula of success for many, many years. I'm wondering why all our arguments, they wouldn't even start off as arguments. They may just be disagreements or debates or something that we just don't see eye to eye on, would go from 1 to 100 really quickly. And I'd be the first person jumping up and down, going crazy, getting all excited and angry. Why? Because I was so quick to speak. Like, I spoke too much. Some of you talk too much and you're too ready to talk too quickly. And now, because you've spoken too quickly, you have not used wisdom. You've said things that you never even wanted to say. You said things that you never really needed to say. You said things that have taken a small situation and grown it to something that is massive, huge. Now something that could have just been settled is an argument that you guys are going to go to work with now, feeling bad about each other, upset with each other. You're not talking to each other. You said this, she said this. You don't even remember what each other said because you were too quick to speak. That was me. Too quick to speak. Had too much to say. Would never take the time to really listen. Would never take the time to really listen. Let me say hello to a few people before I start rambling on. Amu Joy, how you doing? My A Blessing, nice to have you on. Ruth Bancher. Nice to have you. Now, love, how you doing? Good morning. Listen, if you guys can relate to what I'm saying, just drop an amen in the comments. Just say, yes, girl, that was me. Because listen, I used to think that, was it that I don't understand him? Was it that he doesn't understand me? Was it that we can't talk? I used to say that all the time. I used to say to him, look, we just can't talk to each other. We just cannot communicate with each other. That's what I used to say to him. Never realizing that actually it's because I did not know how to listen. Now, I am taking full responsibility for this because you have to take ownership for yourself. You know, there's areas that Mr. Chuako is way better at me at, and one is being quiet and listening. He's way better at that than me. Me? Maybe because of defensiveness. Maybe because I brought him baggage from a previous relationship. Maybe because of pride. Maybe because I wanted to show that actually I know better. Whatever the reason was, I was the first one. He would say A, I was all, before he's even finished saying A, I've already reached Z, or Z, as you Americans would say. Too quick to speak. Now listen, I want to say that there's a difference between listening and hearing. So the first thing that this verse says is everyone should be quick to listen. It doesn't say quick to hear. Doesn't say quick to hear. And now I find that interesting because I can hear what you're saying, but it takes extra effort to really listen. Here's the difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is just a sound. I can just hear a sound in the background and not really take in what it is, not really think about it, but I can hear you. I can hear you talking to me. I can hear the words you're saying. Am I listening? Now that's a whole another level. Am I really taking in what you're saying to me? When you're listening for the words, you're listening for the body language, you're listening for the context, you're listening for the heart behind the words, you're listening for the emotion behind the words, you're even looking and listening for the source of what this person is trying to say. Like, where is this coming from? You're listening for all that. You're listening for the messages in between the gaps. You're listening to what they're truly trying to say, not what you think they're saying. Ooh, not what you think they're saying. How many times has our spouse said something to us and we have completely taken it and shifted it the wrong way around because we weren't listening to them? We weren't listening to them. We heard their words, but we was not listening. I have got into countless arguments with Mr. Chiwako because I was not listening to him when he was trying to share his heart, especially us women. Women, you've got to remember that men are not going to communicate in the same way that women do. Men are going to give you the key points in the issue. A, B, C. They're the key points. They're not going to do the A.1, A.2, A.3 the way we do. B.1, B.2, B.3. They're not going to do that. They're going to give you A, B, C. If you're not listening keenly, you're not going to get the real roots. You're not going to get the A.1, .2, .3. You're not going to get the backstory. If you're not watching and considering, if you're not analyzing the conversation, if you're not saying, okay, what is he really trying? Is this really because he needs more time from me? Is this what he's saying? Is this really because he's saying actually he needs more sex? Is that really what he's saying? Is this him saying actually he needs more affection? Maybe he's trying to say, I need you to champion me. But all you're hearing is, you don't support me. You don't support me. That's all you've heard. You're not listening behind to see, is this man really feeling quite insecure about something that he's about to do? And he needs me to champion him. He needs a kind word from me to say, you know what, I believe in you, I can do it. No, we didn't get that. All we heard is, you don't support me. So, and because we're quick to respond, we're quick to speak, we're like, what do you mean I don't support you? I'm the person that's always here. I'm the person that's always doing this. But we didn't take a moment to listen. I'm using that example because that was a real example in my home when my husband came back and was just like, you don't support me. And I went from 1 to 250 quick because I was like, I'm always the person that is here for you. Who is the person that did this? This is my defense now. Who's the person that did that? Was I not the person that did this? How dare you say that? That turned into an argument. Now, when I took the time later on, after I've been quick to speak and quick to anger, when I took the time to consider what he was really saying, I knew within my heart that what he was really trying to say to me was, babe, in this time right now, this thing that I'm going for, this thing that I'm doing, I really could do with more support. I really could do with a kind word. I really could do with knowing that you're right behind me. I really could do with more affection. I really could do with knowing that you champion me. You already do that, but I need just that bit more. At this time, I don't have the confidence. Women, a lot of the times we don't hear that weakness from our husbands because it comes across a bit hard and a bit strong. But when we go back, we will hear somebody crying out for support. But no, we're very quick. Men do it as well. When a woman comes home and they're frustrated with the household or frustrated, all you've heard from your wife is, why are you going again? That's what she said to you. She said, why are you leaving again? You just came home. That's all you heard. You heard that. When I say, did you hear it? You say, yes, I heard what she said. Oh, did you listen? Did you listen to what she was really saying? What she was really saying was, I miss you. And I love it when you're home. And I wish you were home more. That's what she was really saying. So if you did more than hear, but you listened, your response wouldn't be to attack her and say, why are you always trying to control my life? No. You would say, babe, I'm not going to be long. I'm going to rush back and I'm going to come and spend some time with you. You would give her a hug. You would reassure her that you understand where she's coming from. Peace. Then you go about your business. Peace. And listen, that's the beauty of being slow to speak. Because when you're slow to speak, you actually get a chance to think before you speak. You just give yourself a moment to think. What are the words that I'm going to use in this time that's going to bring peace to this situation rather than fire? Rather than fire. What are the words I'm going to use that is going to just soften this anger rather than flame it up? Some of us, we're in a situation where literally you have a choice. You can say one thing that is just going to bring hell and brimstone into your house, or you can say another thing that is just going to soothe the situation. But because you were too quick to speak, hell and fire and brimstone rained down. Too quick. You didn't think about it. You didn't listen to what they were saying, and then you didn't think about your response. Let me tell you now, guys, men and women, I listen and I am slow to speak. Sometimes I'll just be looking like this. He'll be saying, did you hear me? I'm like, yes, babe, I did more than hear you. I listened. And I will wait because I need that little bomb within me to just cool down and think. That little flesh, that wants to rise up, I have to tell it to just subdue. That pride that wants to say, who do you think you're talking to? I have to tell that proud man to be quiet. That wall of defensiveness that wants to come up, I have to say, whoa. Let's stop building that wall. That takes a moment. Stop building that wall. Remain vulnerable. Stay open. Receive what he's trying to say. Remember that this man is not your enemy. Remember this wife is not your enemy. So whatever they're trying to say is not going to be coming from a purposeful place of hurt for you. It's not going to be coming from a purposeful place of trying to destroy you or put you down. That's not the case. This is somebody that married you and proclaims to love you. So take that out of the window as well. Take that all out of your mind. This person, he just wants to put me down. This is what he always wants to do. He wants to hex me. He wants to destroy my day. It's not the truth. Your spouse does not wake up in the morning thinking of ways to destroy your day or to hurt you. It's just the way you've received it. Maybe they didn't package it well enough. Maybe they didn't consider their tone enough. Maybe they were a bit quick to speak. Maybe they were slow enough to listen or slow to speak, sorry. Maybe they got their side wrong, but you're only in control of what you do. So you see, I take a moment and then I respond in the wisest way that I know how, as often as I possibly can. And that's why our arguments have turned into a few disputes here and there that we're over with within minutes. Because we've reached that place of being slow to speak. On top of that, slow to anger. I mean, if you've been following me for a while, you would have seen that I've spoken about this often and often again. Everybody taking things also personally. Everybody taking things also to heart all the time. You said this. You did this. When if it was anybody else in the street, your boss does something wrong to you, your work colleagues do something wrong to you, somebody in church does something wrong to you, suddenly you know how to control yourself. Suddenly you know how to be slow to anger. But in your marriage, you're like Lewis Hamilton, you're like Bolt to anger. Hey, nobody can do anything. Maybe you don't express it as being loud. Maybe you express it in moodiness. Yeah, all you that say, oh, well, I don't really shout. Yeah, but you get moody. It's the same thing. Those of you that just be quiet, completely quiet, and you're not going to speak for the next 2 days. It's the same thing. They call it passive aggression. Passive aggression. Yeah, I don't shout. Well, yeah, we know what you do. Psychological warfare. I'm scared of you people. Quick to anger for what? You want your house to be a war zone. And let me tell you, even if you think that, oh, this is a bit airy-fairy, ask yourself the truest question. Ask yourself the truest question. When you guys have had a huge argument, even just by the next day, when someone comes and asks you, what was that argument about? Some of you can't even remember. If I am talking the truth, put truth in the comments right now. Some of you can't. You killed yourself. Went to bed the next day to articulate what the actual issue was. You can't even grasp it. You don't even know. But you killed yourself, destroyed your marriage, brought chaos, brought conflict, drove out peace, drove out unity. For what? Because you were very slow to listen, but super fast to speak. You have a skill. In fact, you are skilled at quick speaking and quick anger, but incompetent of listening. I'm only bold enough to say this to you because I've had to face it within myself. That's the only reason why. Let me guarantee you guys something. It's a guarantee. Listen, it's not just me. It's Brother James in the Bible said. Brother James said, dear brothers and sisters, take note. My dad will say, a word is enough for the wise. Take note. Everyone should be quick to listen. Quick to listen. Guys, what I want you to do is the next time your spouse says something to you. Now, here's the trick. Never expect your spouse to behave in the way that you would behave. That's on them. You can tell them that you prefer it this way, support them in trying to change, whatever. But your response shouldn't be based on another person's actions. So I'm saying that because I don't want you to say, well, my husband said it to me with force and with anger, and that's why I came back with force and anger. That's not what we're doing here. Here, no matter how they package this communication to you, whether they package it correctly or incorrectly, what I want you to do is listen. Listen for insecurity. Listen for the need of affection. Listen for unsurety. Listen for fear. Listen for shame. Listen for ego being bruised. Women, there's a lot of arguments that your husband or that you've gone into because your husband has approached you to say something, and really all that has happened is that his ego has been bruised. That's all. He's not really angry with you. He's not really, trying to destroy the home or anything. It's just his ego was bruised and he's trying to build up again. Men will do that. So you get wise. You listen out for it. And you say, this he's saying, I can hear anger, and I can hear blame, but when I listen, what I receive is his ego is bruised. And so you know what works for your husband. I know that just coming close to him and putting my arm on him and saying, babe, look, you know what, I'm sorry. I know you are such and such and such and such. You know what works. Husbands, when your wife is saying, I'm sick of this, we don't know how to talk, you don't talk to me. Listen to what she's saying. Maybe it's just that she needs a bit more affection from you, a bit more time from you. Listen. Don't take it to heart. You choose your words. Take the time to choose your words wisely. And be slow to anger. Don't take it all personally. Listen, guys, if I say this one time, if I say it 100 times, if I say it 1,000,000 times, I will never get tired of telling you this. Don't jeopardize the peace in your house for, like, it has to be a big deal to jeopardize the peace in your house. Always weigh it up. Is this worth the peace? Now listen, not only just the peace in your house, but arguably more importantly, your peace. Your peace. Is this something I am going to allow to be turning in my heart for the rest of the day, stressing me, my head, I can't think, I can't work, I'm giving myself gray hair? Is it worth it? Because somebody else didn't know how to communicate properly? Yeah, I say somebody else, it's your spouse, but it's just another person. Because somebody else didn't make the right choice? Because of somebody else's actions? My whole peace I will give for this thing? Nah. Listen, I do not live that life anymore. And I'll tell you something, neither does Mr. Chiwako. If Mr. Chiwako comes and sees that I am attempting, I am attempting to take his peace, you just feel like, we're not playing that game. No. We cut it dead. Now, what I want to teach you guys in another video is how to correctly deal with conflict, because it's going to be there. How to correctly deal with disagreement, because what I'm not saying is brushing conflict or disagreements or problems under the carpet. I am completely against that, completely. But your approach, the wisdom that you use is critical, absolutely critical. All right, guys, I'm going to take some comments and then I will be off to go and run my businesses with an S. This is why I need peace. Beaver says, good morning, beautiful sis. Good morning, Beaver. Sis, I'm good. My blessing says I'm good. Sis, how are you? I am blessed and highly favored for life. Amen. My blessing said, I used to be like that. I listen more now, have learned through the years. It takes a lot of effort and discipline. But listen, here's the benefit. I don't think I gave you the benefit of it. Apart from drastically reducing the arguments in your house, and when I say drastically, I mean drastically reducing the arguments in your house. Apart from drastically increasing the peace in your marriage and also the peace within yourself, the other benefit of this is that you will learn your spouse. When you don't listen, you don't really know your spouse. I'm telling you now, you don't know them. You don't understand them. That's why you keep reacting this way, because you don't know them. You don't get it. You don't. Some people will say A and they mean B. It's only when you understand them that whenever they say A, other people will think, oh, they're saying A, but you know, I know that they mean B. Why? Because I've listened. I've listened. How many times your spouse will say something and other people might be like, yeah, he said this, but you his wife, or her husband will be like, yeah, but I know. I know where this is coming from and what it really is. Do you understand? You will learn your spouse, and it is a power. When you understand your spouse at this level that I'm talking about, that again, I have to do another video about, understanding them in their core, sometimes beyond how they understand themselves, because they haven't taken the time to study themselves. When you are slow to speak but quick to listen, you start to understand your spouse. You start to study them. You start to understand their reactions, their trigger points, their motivations. You understand that. You understand the words behind the words, the message behind the words, the heart behind the words, the emotion behind the words. You understand the body language. You understand when it's surface level frustration and real anger. You understand when it's pain talking or pride talking. You understand when it's a cry for help, when it's fear. You understand. You get it. No matter what you see from the front, you understand them from behind, because you've been taking time to listen. You've taken time to listen. That's how you navigate through your marriage and through your relationships powerfully. That's when you can go into 2020, which is something we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks. Go into 2020 knowing what you want from your marriage and being able to strategically make it happen, because you've taken step backs to understand your spouse. How do I get my spouse on side? How do I get them to understand me? How do we increase better communication? How do I get them to see me, to see my beauty? How do I get them to want to be with me more and spend time with me more? You understand their needs. That's how. You're not going to understand me if you don't take the time to really listen to my heart. You won't get it. Don't just hear my words. Sometimes I speak nonsense. Sometimes it's just my hurt talking. Sometimes it's just pride talking. Sometimes it's just fear talking. So if you're not going to listen to me, if you're not going to listen, you're not going to get it. Oh, suddenly I feel like crying. Magdalene, thanks for joining. Judith says true. That was when I was asking people if you know that when you have an argument that you felt was a big deal at the time, worth the peace in your home, worth bringing chaos and conflict into your house, and the very next day if I came back and said, but what really was this argument about? You wouldn't even be able to tell me. You won't be able to articulate it to me. People are saying it's the truth. I know that. Slept, gone to bed, angry, woken up, and like, yeah, what were we fighting about again? Waste of peace. Waste of peace. Khadida, how are you doing? And Ronke again says 100% truth. Good morning to you, love. How are you doing, Francisca? Thank you for that. Somebody is shouting hallelujah. This is heavenly wisdom. Praise God for that. Pastor David says, I always tell people marriage is growth. You grow each other. You grow each new day. Absolutely. All right, guys. I think that I've kept you on here for long enough. But guys, if you have any questions that you want to ask, and you know, it's very funny because I feel that people really misunderstand marriage. I feel that people just really believe that it's just gonna be fine. People really believe that the people that have good marriages were just lucky. People believe, I mean, we believe that. They're lucky. They found a good man or they found a good woman. People truly believe that. So I find that if I said, you know, come and get counseling or come and get support for growing your business, people are like, yes, because I don't know how to do this and I want my business to work. But for marriage, it's like people are really reluctant. But if you understood that, like anything else in this life, strategy, process, wisdom and understanding is critical to success. Critical to success. Having a vision of what you want. If I ask some of you, I'm going on to another video now, but this is the video that I want to do next time. But if I ask some of you, what is the vision for your marriage for 2020? A lot of you won't know. You wouldn't have considered it. If I ask you what's the vision for your career or for your business, you may have an answer for that. Or for your life, oh, I want a new house, I want a new car, I want this, I want that. But for your marriage, some of you won't have the answer. And then you get to the end of 2020, like you got to the end of 2019, and say, wow, is this marriage still like this? Are we still behaving like this? Are we still communicating like this? Is this my life? Well, listen to this. Nothing changes without you deciding that I want to change. Nothing changes without you saying, this is where I want to head to. This is what I want. The standards remain the same until you raise the goalpost and you say, actually, we're not living at this substandard level anymore. I want it higher. Now, if you guys are on this platform that is Marriage for Real with Adaeze Chiwako, I believe it's because, like me, you don't want to just have marriages that in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, 30, 40 years' time, you say, yes, I'm married. This is my husband. This is my wife. Flatmates, business partners. We raised our children. Praise God. Like, the thought of that fills me with dread. I mean, if that's it, what's the point? I mean, I can have a good friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could have a flatmate. I can get a business partner. Okay, maybe I needed my husband to have my children. But then once the children are grown, then what would be the point of staying together? Like, if that's it. I personally don't believe that that's why God has put us on this earth and said, get together and be fruitful. Now, people say, be fruitful, just have children. It's not just that. It's be fruitful on all sides. The Bible says that I wish that you prosper on all sides. And guess what? Our marriages are integral to that all-side prosperity. Integral. And that's why I truly believe that if you want to be successful in life, you want to be successful in business, you want to be successful socially, you want to be successful with your children, if you are married, it starts there. That is, your marriage is the core. Why do I believe that? Because marriage is a representation of the church. The church is the core to the success of humanity. Marriage is the core to the success of your life and your generation and your legacy. So if you're not starting to think of your marriage strategically, let 2020 be the start. In fact, don't wait till 2020. Let's start today. Let's start today. Okay. All right. I'm gone now. If you do have any questions, message me. If you're on this platform for the first time and you're not following me, make sure you go ahead and do so. Just hit that like button, hit the follow button, and look out for more videos on how you can have an amazing, passionate, exciting, flourishing, beautiful marriage. That's the marriage I want. That's the marriage I'm having.